Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Exploring Our Quad Cities. I'm Jim Needleman, and we are coming to you live today from Arsenal Island. Certainly, you don't have to live and work here to enjoy what it has to offer. We'll talk about that throughout the program this afternoon, but first, a little bit of history. We're actually coming to you specifically from Quarters 1. It was built in the 1870s and was once home to the highest-ranking officer here on Arsenal Island. We'll talk more about Quarters 1 now and some of the other historic sites this place has to offer with Kevin Braadfladt, the Army Sustainment Command historian, and Patrick Allie, the Arsenal Museum director. Great to have you both. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Quarters 1 first. Certainly an impressive estate with an impressive past. How big is it, and what makes it stand out from an ordinary home?
Yeah, so it was built, like you said, as the commanding officer's quarters, but it's 22,000 square feet. And it's the second largest federally owned residence, only behind the White House as far as square footage.
So when we think of size, it's only White House number one, and then you can to its federally owned property.
That's right.
What about the history of the place over the years? Is it also a place of size? We talked about the highest ranking officer. Was it also a place for VIPs to stay?
Yes, yeah. And so it was, like you said, the highest ranking commanding officer of the Arsenal would be here. We had Dwight David Eisenhower as Lieutenant Colonel Eisenhower. Patton stayed here. Charles Lindbergh stayed here, as well as other foreign dignitaries and guests to the Arsenal Island.
So certainly we talk about history and some of the people who have been here, high-ranking people throughout American history. What's it like for you to come through here and that of this place?
Yeah, I really feel honored that we get the opportunity to walk through these halls and walk in the footsteps of all these famous people, and that we're able to share the history of the island through the house, and be able to have other people enjoy it as well.
How is it used now?
So it's used in a number of different ways, but it's open for different events through MWR here on the Arsenal. They can rent it out, and a lot of the commands on the island also use it for social gathering sites and things like that. And so,
can it be rented out to the public at all, or is it strictly for military purposes?
Yes, through MWR it can be rented out to the public.
Now we know the Arsenal is celebrating its 160th anniversary this year. What purpose did the Arsenal serve in the very beginning, those early years?
Yeah, so it really, from its onset, was intended to be the grand national arsenal. So everything the Army wanted and needed was supposed to be built here, built and produced here. And so, over the years, fluctuations, its mission has changed, but it was supposed to be everything that the Army wanted or needed.
So when we talk about everything, we're obviously talking about weaponry, but not just weaponry.
Not weaponry, not just weaponry, but tinware, all of the, or at least most of the Army's early leatherworking equipment, artillery systems. Carriages for artillery systems, so just a huge, wide-ranging variety of things, even to the Army's first.
Manufacturing a lot of different things today. The Arsenal also has the Army's second, and that is certainly historically about that sort of thing. I know that the museum's been closed for a few years now for renovations. Where does that stand right now? When is it expected to reopen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as you said, Rock Island Arsenal Museum is the Army's second oldest museum. West Point is the oldest. They only beat us by a few years. But the museum has been closed since 2020, undergoing a floor-to-ceiling renovation, the first one in 80 years. And so right now we have a targeted reopening date of summer 2023.
So next year, about a year from now.
About a year from now, yeah.
What's the price tag on that type of work?
So it's about a $2 million project funded through the Army.
What about the exhibits? I remember I've been there a couple times before it closed, and I just remember just being in awe of some of the things, because it shows off what's been made here at the Arsenal. What kind of exhibits will be carried over? What type of new exhibits do you expect?
Yeah, so the exhibits are really taking a new look, a refreshed look at the history of Rock Island Arsenal from its earliest years all the way up through current day manufacturing. So you'll see a lot of the favorites. People talk about the taxidermied horse. Some of the weaponry that we had on display will go back on display, but really it's a complete modernization of the exhibit. So we'll have interactives, we'll have both digital and physical, to really reach people of all ages. So kind of hitting all those different demographics.
Some audio playbacks as well, I imagine?
Absolutely, yes.
That is sort of what you get in the museum experience these days.
So certainly a more modern museum experience than you were getting before that really gets to the people, the processes, and the products of Rock Island Arsenal.
And you yourself, I mean, you're seeing it. What's it like to watch it go through that floor-to-ceiling renovation? Because you saw it before. you've seen the images, what it's going to be, and you're seeing the process now. What's it like to go through that process?
Oh, it's incredible, and you know, being part of any exhibit renovation and being able to reshape and retell the story of Rock Island Arsenal, which at the end of the day is really a Quad City story. You know, the majority of the people working on this arsenal from its earliest years to today are Quad citizens. They're from this area, and so being able to see that reshape and refocus on that is certainly incredibly meaningful for me, and I'm so excited to get the doors open and get people in and share that story.
We're really short on time, unfortunately. I want to get quickly, what are some of the other historic sites, because these are two are fantastic things we just talked about, other historic sites that people can come to the Arsenal and enjoy?
Yeah, so we have the National Cemetery, and we also have a tour flyer that you can get on Army Sustainment Command's website as well for free. But you know, the Lock and Dam down at the western side of the island, the Colonel Davenport House, you know, so there's a great number of different sites on the island that you can visit.
And it's an incredible oasis when you come out, how quiet and peaceful it is, and the wonderful view you guys have. Kevin, Braadfladt, Patrick, Allie, thank you both for your time. Continued success there on the Arsenal. Looking forward to the museum reopening next year.